morning, everyone, and welcome to our virtual center spotlight. I'm Lily Craig, the Development Associate at the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center. We like to use these virtual gatherings as an opportunity to share information on different programs, as well as the latest news and updates from the center. Before we dive in, I wanted to take a moment to allow the other members of our staff in attendance to introduce themselves.
So good morning, I'm Kelly Majewski. I'm the Director of Advancement, and I've been here at the center for 10 years.
I'm a youth advocate, and I've been with the center since January.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Evelyn Martinez, and I have been in the center for 5 years.
This morning, you'll hear from Kelly Majewski, who will give an overview of the center, and Evelyn Martinez, who will present on the center's Intimate Partner Abuse Education Program, or IPAEP program, and the Strong Fathers program. During this portion of the program, all attendees will be muted to help prevent any background noise. However, there'll be an opportunity for a Q&A session at the end. At that time, you may unmute yourself and ask our speakers any follow-up questions you may have. Before we get started, I wanted to share a couple of suggestions for those of you who may not be familiar with Zoom's functions and features. At the top right-hand corner of the screen, you have the option to view the event in Gallery or Speaker View. If you're not currently viewing the event in Speaker View, we recommend that you take a moment to switch to that setting. At any time, if you have any technical questions about Zoom, please direct them to me or Kelly Majewski in the chat. You'll find this icon at the bottom of the screen, and when you click on the chat icon, it will bring up a sidebar where you're given the option to select my name or Kelly's name to send a chat. Thank you, and now I'll turn it over to Kelly.
So thank you so much, Lily, and welcome everybody. I'm so glad that you're here with us. I just want to thank you all for taking time out of your day on behalf of those of us at the center and our board of directors. We really appreciate that you're here to learn more about our mission to empower individuals and engage communities to end domestic violence. I'm just going to give you a little overview about domestic violence. So really, domestic violence affects millions of people in the United States, and data shows that 1 in 4 adult women and approximately 1 in 7 men in the United States will experience severe physical violence at one point or another in their lives. What's more, interesting to me personally is that between 3.3 and 10 million children are exposed to adult physical domestic violence every single year, which means that children are experiencing this in their homes on a day-to-day basis. So our job here at the center is to provide services to those adults who have or, who are currently or have experienced domestic violence in their homes, and to interrupt the cycle of violence for the next generation as well. So here at the center, we're celebrating our 40th year of service. And really, I'm just going to give you tops of the waves of some of the services that we provide. We have 4 areas. The first one we call survivor services, which is where we serve anywhere from 12 to 1,400 survivors of domestic violence every single year. We do not charge for those services, as we do not want cost to be a barrier for people as well to receive what they need. So just to give you an idea of those services that we provide, it's our 24-hour confidential hotline. We have advocacy and counseling. We do support groups, legal representation. We also provide housing assistance. We do wellness workshop, children's safety program, and art therapy. And these programs take place in both our Amesbury and Lawrence offices. We also have our youth empowerment services, and we call them YES for short. And we love using acronyms here at the center. But basically, these are research-based, nationally recognized approaches to educate boys, girls, and gender nonconforming students. The programs include gender-based violence prevention, Healthy Masculinity, Bystander Education, and our Girls Inc. the Seacoast Area program. So these programs take place both in middle elementary schools and high schools, but they also take place around the communities that we serve, as well as we provide vacation programs as well too. Our third program is our domestic violence homicide prevention work, which is our initiative to end domestic violence homicide. So basically, the center has provided homicide prevention strategies for the last 17 years. And these also include providing training and technical assistance to over 250 jurisdictions throughout the country. So we partner with communities to implement proven homicide reduction strategies. And then we also are working to develop new solutions and evaluate their effectiveness. So today's Center Spotlight is really the focus on our fourth program, which is our Intimate Partner Abuse Program, which is known as IPAEP, and also our Strong Father groups that we offer. And those are offered in our Lawrence program, but also, or out of our Lawrence office, but we also, Evelyn will give you more information. We do provide those groups in Lowell, the community of Lowell as well too. So we wanted to sort of give you more information about these programs, really in honor of Father's Day, which is coming up this weekend. And we just wanted to shine a light on this unique program and raise awareness for the importance roles that fathers play in our lives. So before we move on to that part of our agenda, we have a brief video. It's less than 2 minutes. Sort of sets the tone for what we're going to talk about. It's an Instagram video from Kier Gaines, and it's called What I Wish I Knew Before Fatherhood.
Man, particularly young black man, hit me up being like, yo, I can't wait to be a dad. I can't wait to be a father. And I love that because I think the men that were a generation before us got raised by the men that were a generation before them. And those men didn't really know warm love because a man didn't express those things that way back then. And I feel like I owe those young men to tell them, like, bro, this is hard because it exposes things about you that you don't know about yourself. It exposes all of your insecurities. And it's a huge emotional undertaking if you do it the right way. So while you see me and Noemi hugged up and loved up on each other, and we got this cute vlog and we make these cute videos and cute pictures, it's because we put in an immense amount of work to make this thing happen, man. We do it every day. We be having sit-down vlogs and we be on the cusp of beefing with each other. But we find that one thing in common that just always brings us back to remembering why we're together. So, bro, when you see this and me playing with my baby and it looks really cool and you want to have those moments, just know that that's the upside. It comes with a downside, and it can be incredibly painful if you allow it to be. So before you take on a family, bro, go see somebody about your past and go see somebody about the trauma that you've endured throughout the course of your life and start healing. Because if you don't heal from that, you'll have all this and you'll never be happy. And I don't want that for nobody, especially anybody who thinks that you can just pour water over a lady and a baby and have a happy family overnight. This ain't oatmeal, man. A lot of young men, particularly young black men, hit me up being like, yo.
Thank you, Lily. And I'm going to turn things over to Evelyn to give you a little bit more of an overview on our IPAEP programs and Strong Fathers.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Lily. Hello, everyone. I am Evelyn Martinez, a counselor at the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center. It's my pleasure to be here to speak with you all today.
Sorry about this.
Should be presenter view up top, Lily.
Yes, it is being covered by my Zoom screen share. I'm sorry about this.
Here we go.
You all see my screen?
Yes, next slide, please, Lily. Thank you. So today I'm going to be focusing on both two of our programs, the programs for the Intimate Partner Abuse Education Program, and I will be using the acronym IPAEP a lot. So it rolls out of my tongue now. It didn't for a very long time. And then we will also be talking about the Strong Fathers Program. They are both programs that we here at the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center offer for various population. The Intimate Partner Abuse Education Program is, the goal of the program is to improve survivor safety while holding men who use violence accountable and to promote positive change by providing educational groups. The population we serve is very specific. It is men who are involved, identifying men who identify as men, who are involved with the criminal justice system, the Department of Children and Families, and also who are voluntary. It is open to men who have a criminal disposition or dismissed charges. So the case cannot be pending in court, and there has to be it has to be resolved. So there has to be a disposition of the case in order for us to provide the service. Acknowledgement of abusive behavior is absolutely important to enter the program. Acknowledging of the incident, acknowledging of abusive behavior, absolutely important to enter the program. If the person does not acknowledge anything, there's a screen out process to that. The Strong Fathers Program is a bit different because that program was initiated for for people who were involved, families that were involved with the Department of Children and Families from the Lawrence and Haverhill office. That program was a closed group once upon a time, and it was only offered for that population in that very specific region because we were part of a research project. So that population is a little bit different. And the goal is different, is teaching fathers parenting skills and increasing understanding of the impact of domestic violence, reduction of abusive behaviors in the home or in the relationship, and coercive and controlling behaviors towards the mother of their children. That program is very different from the Intimate Partner Abuse Education Program because it is focusing a lot on dads and fatherhood. Population right now is a little bit different because it has been opened to other regions. So it has been open to other areas of DCF, and it has also been opened for people who are receiving services in other Intimate Partner Abuse Education program across the state. So there is still a criteria for that. Men are intaked, and upon intake, there has to be a small acknowledgement of abusive behaviors and low levels of abusive behaviors that are occurring in order for them to enter the Strong Fathers Program. If there is not low levels of abusive behaviors, there's a long history of abusive behaviors or current abusive behaviors that dad is admitting to, then he will not be appropriate for that service. He would be appropriate for an Intimate Partner Abuse Education Program. So we do a screening process to make sure that this is an appropriate service for dads. And if dad, some dads are reluctant. Once I say, you need the Intimate Partner Abuse Education Program, I would recommend for dads to do both programs. That's not a problem, but I would absolutely encourage an intimate partner abuse education program if we have concerns around active abusive behaviors. People who perpetrate domestic violence and people who use violence come from all, any race, any religion, any ethnicity. We as a program get asked this question a lot, and people are very impressed and surprised by when they observe our groups, by who's in the room. And the people who are in the room are people that look like us. They're family members, and they look like our family members. They look like our neighbors. They look like our friends. They expect a room full of resistant, angry men. And that's not the case. For the most part, people are very compliant with the group process. And they typically are not a threat to us or others. Program format. So the Strong Fathers program and the Intimate Partner Abuse Education program, I did provide some differences within both programs. The Strong Fathers program is a 20-week program. It meets once a week on Thursday nights from 5 to 7. Once upon a time when we were in person, the Strong Fathers program there is a limit of 10 clients at that in group because it's very, very interactive. It's very, very interactive. So we absolutely need the time to be really able to skill build. And again, low risk of abusive behaviors. The Intimate Partner Abuse Education program is a 40-week program with an average of 10 to 20 clients in group. Right now, we have 12 ongoing groups that are still running through Zoom. The Strong Fathers are still running through Zoom as well. It is co-led, both programs, 2 hours long. The Strong Fathers program, there's no fee for the program, but the Intimate Partner program, there is a fee for the program. We are a certified program, certified by the Department of Public Health. We are one of many in the state. And there are some differences, but similarities in the context of the program especially around domestic violence. We do talk about the power and control wheel, abusive behaviors, and the effects of domestic violence on both ends. I did want to include a little bit about the comparison around anger management and Intimate Partner Abuse Education program, because we are asked a lot about, is this an anger management program? And what's the difference between anger management and Intimate Partner Abuse Education program? And there is a training around this. So I am just touching the surface around all of these areas, just as a small little snips of the services that we provide and I encourage everyone to really go into depth of what this means. So anger management is very specific program, is usually 16 to 20 weeks long. It provides a service for people of all genders who have anger issues. They are angry with everyone. They have road rage and fights, and you can't look at them wrong because they start fights with everyone. So anger management is very, very different from Intimate Partner Abuse Education program. And the major difference is that Intimate Partner Abuse Education programs are designed for people who use violence against their intimate partner specifically. only. So they are very specific and very different. Anger is control, not anger, is the reason for the abuse. So anger management programs, again, are designed for people who are angry with everyone. And intimate partner abuse education programs are designed for people who have abusive behaviors towards their intimate partner. Anger is still an excuse. Topics and themes that we discuss for the Strong Fathers program and the Intimate Partner Abuse Education program. Again, a lot of parenting skills, The Strong Fathers curriculum is big on praise as a disciplining skill. We know that there are many disciplinary skills that that can be taught for parents, but praise is one of the biggest skills that they teach and that we teach our clients as well. Repairing relationships. Repairing relationships is something that we really try to teach our dads, that is important to repair relationships, not only with the mother of their children, so they can coexist, but also family as a whole, and their parent and their children, right? This is life-changing work. It's a lot of work. This is not something that happens overnight with any of these programs. I strongly believe that survivors are safer when their partners are involved in intimate partner abuse education groups. The Strong Fathers program is our youngest addition to our services, and pre-pandemic, we would start the group with a meal from our local restaurant down the street from us here on Merrimack Street, Paisanos, shout out to Paisanos, with parenting skills, I'm sorry. And during the pandemic, we all were shaken. The pandemic shook all of us. And during the pandemic, we found ourselves, like most agencies, scrambling on how this was going to work and continue, right? What we achieved was very little interrupted in service, thanks to a lot of movement from our agency to make sure that everything was up and running, and we were introduced to Zoom world. And during that time, we found that clients were desperately needing to connect and to connect with us, connect with services in general. Groups became a lifeline for our clients. Clients struggled with isolation, with substance misuse, mental health issues, housing, employment, finances, among other basic needs. So as I was saying at the beginning, we were part of a research project for the QIC and the Children's Bureau. And this past Tuesday, the University of Kansas of Social Welfare was the researchers that were in charge of this project. And this project was very interesting. We spent a very long time. Trying to engage Child Protective Services, so DCF, and the Quality Improvement Center, which is QIC. Sorry, the acronyms, I know. Quality Improvement Center, with trying to really teach the children's services how to engage people who use violence in services. And it was a very intense project. And they worked really hard to be able to really have some facts around that, facts around domestic violence, facts around engaging people who use violence, around protective factors, around DV 101. So they spent a very long time setting these meetings up pre-pandemic. Then the pandemic hit and everything was interrupted. COVID interrupted and impacted 2 years of evaluations and 2 years of this research project. So the sample was a small sample. Unfortunately, that's what was found. And the research is hot off the press. Tuesday, like I said, Juliana, one of the head researcher, the data collector, was able to give us a little bit of the information. And at the end of the year, the report, 500 pages, by the way, is going to come out, and we're going to be able to get that information for all of us. What we learned this past Tuesday was that out of this project, we were able to have the Strong Fathers Project, the Strong Fathers Program, and that men were reported that they felt supported by their peers, that they felt supported by the group leaders at the Strong Fathers, and that they had a place to talk about issues outside of their household. And it was very impactful and beneficial for them. So that's what we learned. So, of course, at the meeting, we have people from different area offices. There are especially one person that was there from the western part of the state that was like, we need the Strong Fathers in the western part of the state. How can we do that? So I'm sure we're going to get some phone calls and some good collaborations out of this program, out of this project, to be able to continue this service throughout the state. Because let me tell you, the things that dads disclose in these programs and in the Strong Fathers program, in our IPAEP program, are things that a lot of people are surprised. Once the men are comfortable with their setting and they feel safe with disclosing information to us, they open up. And what we see is a long history of trauma. We see a long history of sadness and hurt. And being able to provide a service that is really impactful for people is something that is important for us. Here are some of the testimonials from the dads that we have from throughout the service, throughout the years that we have collected. The middle one is one of my favorites. Is I know I have to keep practicing with giving more time, listening more, paying more attention, and keeping my cool. And knowing again that this is a lifetime process. This is not something that's going to change overnight. That this requires time and work and commitment. This is a small video that we are going to share, small clips. This video can be found on the Strong Fathers YouTube channel.
To the group, you can see how they get liberated, how they get free from the pain because they realize they're kind of repeating that same vicious cycle.
That's the fun part, to see the changes that take place. Seeing them acknowledge that there are different ways of thinking and that their way is not always right, and that there are better ways to parent and interact with their children.
My dad, my mom, my son definitely sees it. My girlfriend sees it. My grandma sees it. So yeah, everybody in my family sees a change in me and sees that I want to be better, and not only be better with my family, but also be better with other people and help other people if I can.
They really want change, And I think our program really sets the stage for them to come into a safe space and get comfortable, not only with the facilitators, but with their peers as well. They don't feel that their peers are judging them. So guys come in, they feel safe and non-judged, and they tend to be willing to put in more work.
We had all males experiencing.
Thank you, Lily. The question of all questions. Can people who use violence change? If I had $1 for every time that I was asked this question in my 16-year career doing this line of work, I would be rich. I would be rich. So the question, what we know is this. Research says that the answer is yes to program completers. If people are socialized to be violent, they can be socialized to be to peace. So I know people can change. If I didn't know that and I didn't believe that in my heart, I wouldn't do this type of work. I wouldn't. I know it can happen. It takes a lot of work, but I know it can happen. I say to my clients often, I want you to win. You winning is me winning. Believe me, your success is my success. And what does that mean? What does success mean? It means stop all abusive behaviors. That's success for me. And that's what we try to teach, right? To stop all abusive behaviors. And once we stop all abusive behaviors, then what can we do next? People don't need a constant reminder that they made a mistake. They don't. They need guidance, everyday skills, so it doesn't happen and it doesn't continue to happen. The abusive behaviors needs to stop. And that's what's important to us, right? Thank you. Thank you, Lily. I'm going to turn it over now to Kelly for questions.
Sorry about that. I'm sitting here staring at my unmute button and it took me a few minutes. So basically we have, so thank you, Evelyn, for that presentation. And I'm happy to put the link to the full Strong Fathers video that Evelyn mentioned. It's about 7 minutes long and I'll drop that in the chat as well. But we have an opportunity here if anybody would like to unmute and ask Evelyn any questions about what they've heard today. And I have received a couple actually through direct message here. So one of the questions that was asked, is it always men who are in the IPAEP groups?
Yes. Yes. So the question, we service men who identify, people who identify as males. That's the service that we provide at this agency in Massachusetts. And there are other programs in Massachusetts that serve different identifying people, women who use violence, same-sex relationships, etc. So there are other services, but we focus primarily, solely on people who use violence who identify as men.
Okay, thank you. And then one other question was, what does safety planning look like for people who use violence?
Safety planning for people who use violence looks very different from safety planning for survivors and victims of domestic violence. And it is different because the focus is to keep your partner safe. That's the safety plan. That's the goal, and that's what we want to focus on. The goal is to recognize anger cues and to remain nonviolent. That's the goal. So it's very specific, and it's produced and created during the orientation process of our program. So the first 4 to 6 weeks of program where we do an orientation process, that's where we introduce the safety plan. And without an adequate safety plan, people are not, they cannot move on to the remaining part, which is the 36 weeks of group.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any other questions that they'd like to add or ask?
Hey, I'm going to be bold, take off my camera or put my camera on early in the morning. I was wondering, one thing that we've been thinking a lot about, and one of the guiding principles for the project that we're working on is around centering racial equity and justice. And in thinking about parenting programs, I feel like many of them kind of have like a white bias about what parenting looks like or should look like. And I'm just wondering how you all kind of address the cultural strengths and values that support parenting, and how parenting, and then also just like how the ways in which, I guess, maybe systematic oppression and other biases create barriers to parenting and supports.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for taking yourself off of the camera so I can see your lovely face. One thing for sure is that we culture piece, it is absolutely part of the agenda for the Strong Fathers program, because we know that it absolutely influences how you parent. So it is part of the curriculum, actually. So it is very important for us to go over it and to know that because it was done this way for all your life, and this is the way that you've been taught, doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right way to do things, right? But with the respect of still being able to hold your culture dear and to you, right? Because it's important. It's important not to change your identity and who you are. That is important for everyone. So it's important for us to still be able to talk about the importance around it, but still talk about what's the other piece of that is abusive behaviors, right? So it's not changing who you are as a person and your culture, but being able to change the abusive behavior.
Cool, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions before we wrap up today?
Thank you, Rebecca.
Good morning, Juan Carlos Arian from Futures Without Violence here. Hi, Evelyn. Hi, everybody.
Good morning, Juan Carlos.
Sorry, I'm not on camera. Too early for me. But more than a question, I actually, it's a comment. As someone who was there at the inset of Strong Fathers, I'm feeling so happy to hear that you have continued with the project after the research and the quick project are done, and that you are getting positive outcomes, and that you are planning to extend to other parts of the state. So I just want to congratulate you for your wonderful work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This work, I am so happy that you're on this call. So this work would not be done without your guidance and your hard work, Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos is someone that I absolutely admire, and he is a pioneer on parenting, on domestic violence, and teachings on people who use violence and how to engage dads. And I am so honored to be able to have the guidance and honestly the teachings from Juan Carlos and his team.
You are too sweet, Evelyn. Thank you so much. And thank you all for your amazing work.
Thank you. So yeah, we are continuing this service thanks to our the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center has really been able to see the value of the Strong Fathers and how much our community needs this service. And we are continuing the service even after the research project. And is still something that we even after last December was when we ended the funding, but we were able to continue it. So I'm really excited about it. I was nervous. I have to say I was nervous about it, but we did continue it. So I am blessed to say that a lot of hard work went into this project. Michelle Penta, who is now the director of Intimate Partner Abuse Education Programs for the Department of Public Health. And I did a lot of outreaching with the Department of Children and Families in Lawrence and Haverhill for referrals. I was like, I literally would laugh with her and say, can we send one more email? Can we send one more reminder? I need more referrals. I need more referrals. I don't want this to, I want to be able to keep this group going. So it was something that we worked really hard to do, to go to team meetings with the Department of Public Health, Department of Children and Families, to set up meetings even after the pandemic and say, let's do a small group of how do we make a referral? Who's appropriate? Do you have a case? Please call us for a consult. So it was something that was a constant reminder, and I'm happy that we were able to really have a solid relationship with our local Child Protective Services in Lawrence and Haverhill, and we continue to collaborate around how to engage dads who use violence or people who use violence.
I have a quick question. Hi, I'm
Sure,
Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, I'm still getting to know the organization a little bit. And I'm curious about with this program, do the people who get involved with this program, is this sort of their one thing that they do with the organization, the one way that all of the services that the organization provides, that they're being served sort of in this one way? Or do you tend to see people, once there's an entry point, whether it be with this program or elsewhere, are there opportunities to assist either individuals or families in other ways as well?
So what we learned, and thank you, Katie, what we learned from the Strong Fathers project, research project, was that once the dads were comfortable with the service, then they were able to really engage in self-support services. So not only were we able to really have a solid group and they were attending our group, but we were able to guide them into, you need to go to the doctors. You need a PCP. You need some therapy. So being able to really say, hey, did you make that appointment? Did you follow through? And that is what ended up happening. So from our standpoint, from Jeff and I, Jeff Trahan is the co-leader of the Strong Fathers program with me. And we were able to see that. We were able to see that dads really understood the value that they had on staying healthy. And what did that mean? That meant staying healthy physically and also mentally. So a lot of services came about with that when engaging in other services. Yes, Katie. They ended up being able to be open to engage in other services because we guided that and they had a good experience with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Thanks for all the questions, everybody. Are there any others? So I think I'll turn it over to Lily.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending today. And again, thank you to Evelyn for putting together this incredible presentation and sharing with you all the transformative work she does with the IPAEP and Strong Fathers programs. We're going to be in touch within the next few weeks to get your feedback and see if you have any additional questions. And if you'd like to learn more about getting involved with the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center, you can contact either myself or Kelly Majewski, or visit our website, jeanniegeigercrisiscenter.org. You can volunteer, donate, and help spread the word about the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Enjoy the day.
Bye. Have a wonderful day.